Federal government secures $280 million deal from Japan agency. In business, Nigeria's drum support for skill acquisition amid rising unemployment. On the foreign scene, European Union deploys observation mission in Malawi. And in sport, Remo Stars host Rivers United in Nigerian Premier Football League. Hello and welcome to all of viewers in Nigeria. Well, to AM News on Global TV, coming to you from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ubong Usoro. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channels 365 and StarTimes 276. The federal government says it has secured a $238 million loan facility from Japan International Cooperation Agency to strengthen its national power grid, following engagement led by President Bola Tinubu and Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabo at the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development in Yokohama, Japan. The Ministry of Power further said President Tinubu also noted that Nigeria's participation at the conference in Asia was about concrete results and not mere diplomacy. Nigeria's participation at the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development in Japan focused on forging a strategic outcome-driven partnership that will deliver tangible results for the Nigerian people. The federal government says it is set to train over 10 million Nigerian youth across the country in digital and technical skills. The skills include programming, artificial intelligence, innovation, plumbing, tiling, and other vocational trades. Our correspondent completes the report.
The Federal Ministry of Education, through the Nigerian Youth Employment and Skill Acquisition Fund, has partnered with the World Bank to train service providers who will, in turn, train the youth nationwide. Speaking at the signing of MOU in Abuja, the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, represented by Dr. Nabila Mohammed, said the program is designed to tackle unemployment by equipping young Nigerians with skills that meet global demands.
You have all been shortlisted and visited, and you must have shown some form of commitment to be here today. So congratulations once again.
The World Bank representative, Dr. Mustara Rufai, said the initiative is a bold step towards preparing youth for future work by combining digital literacy with technical skills to create new generation of innovators and problem solvers.
The bank, in its bid to see youths acquire relevant skills, relevant market skills, is investing in the TVET sector. And it's not just to train them, but to see them get certification under the National Sales Qualification Framework and also to get employment.
The National Project Coordinator of the Nigerian Youth Employment through Skill Acquisition Fund, Blessing Ugu, said the service providers were selected after a rigorous process, stating that over 10 million Nigerian youth will be trained for 6 months all over the country.
The federal government of Nigeria, in this present administration, is focusing on training our youth, equipping them with specific skills that with the skills that the students can go out and have jobs.
The program will begin with the signing of the MOU with service providers before the full-scale training commences across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Stakeholders express optimism that the scheme will bridge the skill gap, enhance job creation, and contribute significantly to economic growth. Ubong Usoro for Global Television.
A new digital tool has been unveiled to track the performance of Nigeria's lawmaker known as Deliberative Barometer, covering the first session of the 10th National Assembly. The digital tool evaluates the plenary contributions of all 469 federal lawmakers between June 2023 and June 2024, measuring debates, motions, bills and petitions, and committee reports. Our National Assembly correspondent, Ania T.F. Patrick, reports.
At a public ceremony in Abuja, The ELGAF Africa Legislative Governance and Policy Innovation Hub, in partnership with civil society groups, launched the Deliberative Barometer and Policy Focus Productive Report. According to the findings by the President, ELGAF Africa Legislative Governance and Policy Innovation Hub, Chibuzo Okereke, the House of Representatives recorded over 4,200 legislative actions, while the Senate logged more than 2,200. Security, economy, and education emerged as top focus areas. However, the report also revealed that 4% of senators and 12% of representatives recorded zero legislative actions during the period. Meanwhile, top performance included Senate Leader Okpeyemi Bamidele and Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, led in the House with more than 100.
Within the data framework we have built, you can know that this member, since he came in the first session, all he has done is to second motion only, or to, or he also shows you the legislators who have not said a word throughout the first session of the National Assembly, which we classify as lawmakers with zero legislative actions within that period. And those who are top performing legislators.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, ably represented by Cyril Hart, says the barometer is a mirror for lawmakers as it challenges members to raise the standard of representation, lawmaking, and oversight.
This platform tracks the productivity of lawmakers and evaluates policy, and it is a tool that can advance democratic growth in measurable ways. This compels us to constantly raise the standard of representation, lawmaking, and oversight by spotlighting legislative outputs.
This report gives Nigerians a scorecard to evaluate their lawmakers and ensure that Parliament works for the people. For ELGAF Africa, its partners, the tool is a step towards strengthening Nigerians' democracy. Anieti Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
Access to clean and safe water for residents of satellite towns in the Federal Capital Territory is set to improve as the federal government, in collaboration with the FCT administration, has launched the Lot 2 Karo Township Water Project supply. The initiative forms part of the Renewed Hope agenda designed to provide lasting infrastructure that directly impacts the lives of residents. Kabi Hazan reports.
At the flag-off ceremony, the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, says the project demonstrates President Bola Tinubu's administration commitment to delivering people-oriented infrastructure. He revealed that 50% of the project funding has already been approved, assuring residents that no project under his watch will be left incompleted.
This is one of the promises made by Mr. President when he commissioned in June, 2 months ago, of the Abuja Greater Water. He said he was going to also do this in the satellite towns. And we have started with Buhari Area Council and Amak Area Council.
Also speaking, the Minister of State for the FCT, Maria Mahmoud, commended the initiative, stressing that the project will bring relief to communities in Karo and its environs by ensuring safe and potable water supply.
This project is beyond water, but it is a symbol of progress, also a promise fulfilled and a future renewed. President Bola Tinubu, GCFR, for the Renewed Hope agenda, the leadership of His Excellency speaks louder than words. Today, the people of Karo and its environ feels the commitment, the impact of commitment of His Excellency in every home, on the street and also in the heart. We thank Mr. President for all that he has been doing and the support he has been given to our administration under Barrister Yelson Wiki.
Representing the contractor, CGC Nigeria Limited, Lynn Herman, pledges quality and timely delivery, promising that the project will be completed ahead of schedule.
I wish to express my appreciation to our minister for his strong leadership and his concern for the people welfare. We believe under his leadership and with the joint effort of all the stakeholders, this project will be completed with high quality, with high efficiency.
When completed, the Karo Water project is expected to serve thousands of residents, enhance public health, and boost socio-economic activities across satellite towns in the FCT. Kabir Hassan, Global TV News.
The grip of drugs on Nigeria's young population is threatening turning what was once a hidden issue into a national emergency. Beyond damaged health, the crisis is tearing families apart, fueling insecurity, and threatening the future of the country. Samuel Odi completes the report.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency reveals that more than 14 million Nigerians are entangled in drug abuse. And with majority age between 15 and 35, the menace is no longer silent. It has exploded into public health and security challenge. Experts say that dangers stretch far beyond addiction itself. School dropouts, mental health disorder, violent crimes, and rising unemployment are all linked to this growing surge.
There is need for what we call a national emergency should be declared. Because if care is not taken, we will likely have to build psychiatric hospital in every local government in Nigeria now. Because the way the addict is increasing is really an alarming rate.
From codeine to tramadol and cannabis, the substance is replacing ambition with addiction, draining the nation's human capital.
It affects mentally. It can lead so many things.
And so in the life of youth, it is causing more harm than any other thing you might think of. And so my advice to the youth is to run away from drugs.
While the government, healthcare workers, and civil society groups continue awareness campaigns, the fight is far from easy. With peer pressure, unemployment, and even social media fueling the crisis, many argue that urgent and united action is the only way to rescue Nigerian youths before it's too late. Samuel Odi for Global
International Organization for Migration, IOM, has donated 1.7 billion naira to support humanitarian relief efforts in Yawata and Nagda community of Guma and Gua West local government areas of Benue State. Benue State correspondent Felicity Ndere reports.
The aid package, funded by the European Union, aims to alleviate the suffering of internally displaced persons affected by the June Yawata attack in Guma and others from Gui West. The donation was announced at the Government House, Makurdi, by IOM Deputy Director General for Operations, Ugochi Daniels, who led the delegation of UN agencies, EU envoys, and other dignitaries.
Today, I'm very pleased to announce, with much appreciation to the European Union, new funding of $1.1 million, which is 1.7 billion naira. And then in December, we will also launch a new initiative funded by the IOM Development Fund that is focused on reducing the risk of gender-based violence.
Governor Hyacinth Alia lauded the gesture and appealed for more support from development partners to facilitate the return of displaced persons to their ancestral homes.
My dream was to see a day when every internally displaced person will return to their ancestral home. And I and the government of Benue State are engaging all parties, including the federal government of Nigeria, the UN agencies and other international partners, to make this dream become a reality.
The delegation also visited the Otese IDP camp and community to commission a water project and assess conditions at the mega camp, reaffirming IOM's partnership with the state government, as well as listen to IDPs air out their concerns. Representatives of IDP expressed gratitude for the aid and urged for a swift return to their ancestral homes. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of AM News. European News deploys observation mission in Malawi. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. In business, Nigeria is seeking an estimated $23 billion to drive a nationwide renewable energy push that could transform electricity access for more than 119 million people, boost economic productivity, and reduce dependence on fossil fuels. This comes as the Rural Electrification Agency and the Delta State government have signed a pact to provide power to over 386,000 off-grid communities and create 220 new jobs in the states. Going by the government Universal Electrification for Nigeria least cost model, a combination of solar home systems, mini-grids, and grid extension could address the country's power supply sufficiency. As Nigeria continues to grapple with rising unemployment and economic hardship, more citizens are stressing the need for young people to embrace skill acquisition as a pathway to success. President Bola Tinubu has urged Nigerians to try a newly launched personal income tax calculator that estimates how much would be paid under the tax reforms his administration recently signed into law. In a post on his official X account, the president said the calculator allows citizens to compare their estimated tax under the proposed reforms with the current rate and ensure a clear understanding of the impact on individual incomes. Tinubu said the reforms, which takes effect from January 2026, are intended to establish a fair tax system, one that never punishes poverty or weighs down on the most vulnerable. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited says it has recorded a substantial decline in its profits after tax, dropping from 905 billion in June to 185 billion naira in July. This represents a staggering 79.6% decrease in profit. The company, in its monthly report release, said it recorded 4.41 trillion in July, down from 4.57 trillion in the previous months. On the foreign scene, an Air Force fighter aircraft has launched 3 targeted and successive strikes in positions Bakura used to occupy Shilawa. The army says Bakura, whose real name is Ibrahim Mahmoud, has been the leader of Boko Haram since 2021. Originally from Nigeria, Mahmoud joined Boko Haram 13 years ago and took over the group after the death of the former leader Abubakar Shekau. In response to a formal invitation by the Malawian authority, the High Representatives, who double as the Vice President of the European Commission, Kaja Kallas, has deployed an election observation mission to observe the general election scheduled for 16 September 2025. The High Representative has appointed Lucia Aminogiata, member of the European Parliament, as the chief observer. Uyi Agbemovuobe reports.
EU Chief Observer Lucia Annunziata said the team deployed had been equipped for the task they are in Malawi to perform.
Our 28 long-term observers are ready to be deployed across Malawi, working in pair in 14 teams of 2. They will observe the campaign and preparation for the election, as well as voting, counting and tabulation, in line with EU well-established standard election observation methodology.
European Union Deputy Chief Observer Anne Maboro explained the scope of work the EU observation mission will carry out before, during and after the election.
So we're going to observe all aspects of the electoral process. That's everything from voter registration to candidate nomination to the conduct of the campaign, participation of marginalized groups such as women and persons with disabilities, the actual conduct of voting, polling, closing, counting, as well as the resolution of electoral disputes.
European Union Election Observation Mission is expected to provide a comprehensive, independent and impartial assessment of the electoral process based on international and regional standards for democratic elections. Uyi Agbemovuobe reporting for Global TV News.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Thursday said negotiations will resume immediately for the release of all hostages and an end to the nearly 2-year war in Gaza. Speaking to soldiers near the Israel's border with Gaza, he added that he was still set on approving plans for defeating Hamas and capturing Gaza City. His remarks come ahead of a high-level security meeting with defense chiefs and cabinet ministers to approving the operational plans. In sports, the 2025-2026 Nigeria Premier Football League (NPFL) has begun, with the winners and runner-up in the previous campaigns facing off at the MKO Abiola Sports Arena in Abeokuta. Champions Remo Stars, who won their first ever NPFL title last season, welcome 2022 champions Rivers United, who finished second last season. The Sky Blue Stars have adopted the MKO Abiola Sports Arena in Abeokuta as their temporary home ground, pending the completion of renovation works at their stadium in Ikenne. Chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, says the recent federal government's rewards to athletes are part of a strategy to secure the future of Nigerian sports. He spoke at the Next Resource Center in Abuja during an interactive session with youths hosted by APC National Youth Leader, Dr. Dayo Israel. And Nietie Patrick has details.
At the event tagged An Evening with Shehu Diko, the National Sports Commission chairman unveiled plans for a national youth sports festival aimed at grooming future athletes. He said the initiative aligns with government's efforts to fight crime, unemployment, and youth restiveness through sports. Diko stressed that athletes will no longer be neglected, adding that Nigeria has applied to host the All-African Games and Commonwealth Games in the coming decade to boost professionalism and world-class infrastructure.
Mr. President knows exactly what he's doing. And even before Mr. President make those promises to the ladies, a week before that, I was with Clemens Westerhoff, for example. He came all the way from Holland. Those that has seen him in my office. We are trying to resolve the house that was given to him as far back as 1994. So it is this government that are also working to resolve it, to do that. So it shows the capacity of the government to make sure everything that is said is done the right way. And I tell you, Mr. President already have directed all the necessary agencies that are supposed to act on it, on the promises he made to deliver.
Organizer of the event, Dr. Dayo Israel, said the initiative mirrors the Tinubu administration's vision to use sports as a tool for youth empowerment, character building, and national pride.
In all of these things that you see, nothing unites as much as sports does, and nothing is as important to young people, of course, aside from education, than sport, because sport is a driver. And what we've done here at the Youth House, at the Next Resource Center, is to ensure that we're a sport-friendly institution. So the whole idea is that we want to begin to do a lot in the interest of young people.
Also speaking, sports advocate Arabiri Atoyebi describes the reforms as a chance to build a lasting sports legacy beyond winning medals.
President Tinubu has done a good job. He has done well by appointing a person like Shehu Diko, not because I know him, but because he's an experienced technocrat, he's an experienced sport administrator that can take sport economy, like he has been saying, to to higher places and all that.
There is no doubt the sports can unite the nation and project its image globally. As such, citizens are expected to give their maximum support to all sporting activities in their domains. Anieti Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
As Global Television AM News comes to an end, let's take a look at the top stories. The federal government says it has secured a $238 million loan facility from the Japan International Cooperation Agency to strengthen its national power grid following engagement led by President Bola Tinubu and the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, at the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development in Yokohama, Japan. In business, as Nigeria continues to grapple with rising unemployment and economic hardship, more citizens are stressing the need for young people to embrace skill acquisition as a pathway to survival and success. And on the foreign scene, in response to a formal invitation by the Malawian authorities, the High Representative, who doubles as the Vice President of the European Commission, Kaja Kallas, has deployed an election observation mission to observe the general elections scheduled for 16th September 2025. And in sports, the 2025-2026 Nigeria Premier Football League NPFL has begun with the winners and runner-up in the previous campaigns facing off at the MKO Abiola Sports Arena in Abeokuta. That's it on AM News. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channels 365 and StarTimes channels 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Ubong Usoro. Thanks for watching.
Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
A new Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has left the pages of manifestos to become real actions and achievements. Transformations that piece by piece feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive. And in Imo, we are not leaving it to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are always watching, protecting dreams and opportunities. If you go to the quiet shore of Orashi Power, you will see the awakening of a hydropower roaring to electrify and energize a blossoming economy. The change is visible. The heartland of the East is under construction as new roads are threading together once forgotten places. Industry is humming again and communities are alive. At the center of it all, a digital revolution is rising. A new ministry with a new mission. Not just cables and codes, but capacity. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build a digital future. And as Orashi Power goes up, so does Imo, lifting with it the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
Be mindful of how we use social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service. And we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
So what does the weekend mean to you? To some persons, the weekend is a time of relaxation, it's a time of study, it's a time of thinking, reflection, and having a good time with family and friends. It means a lot of things to a lot of persons. And on that note, I'm welcoming you to the weekend edition of Global Morning on Global Television, a program where we highlight and we help you have a wonderful weekend as you try to relax from the pressure of work, the pressure of life. It could come with a lot of things, so we'll just keep it cool, calm, collected, and help you have a good time, right? That's what we're going to be doing today on the show. We have a lot of things that are lined up for you. We're going to be looking at what is the importance of girl-child education, especially in our country, and how the women contributes to nation building, contributes to national development. These are some of the things we're going to be looking at on this program today. And mind you, I am not going to be on the show alone. We're going to be having the very delectable and very beautiful Michael Anchor that will be joining me on the show. All right, so she's already here. She'll be joining me on the show to help make sense of the discussion where we're going to be talking about today. Good morning and happy weekends to you, Sadiat.
Good morning, Ubong Usoro, and happy weekend to you, and happy weekend to all our viewers.
Yeah, happy weekend to all our viewers. How's your weekend going? Let's start on a lighter note.
It's going, it's fine, cool.
What stands out for you this weekend?
A lot, Ubong Usoro, and I don't want to disclose that because I know, yeah, copy.
So, okay, you're not keeping your weekend private. You can imagine somebody, all right.
I'm keeping this private because of you, because you go and then do the same thing.
Oh, okay, the things you do.
Yes, and I don't want that.
No, but for me, the only thing I thought you would have done is that you would have come with something for taste and texture. Because when we get to that segment of the show, Sadiat, you have to show working. All right, so that's what we do on the weekend edition of the show, is to keep it light, to keep it simple, and to help you have a good time. And some of the things we're going to be talking about today on the show, girl-child education. We'll have some experts joining us to talk about this thing. I think it's really concerning, women getting into power. And I think, by the way, women are doing absolutely very well, phenomenally well now in Nigeria. And just a catch, within the week, next week, I'm going to be hosting one of the first Nigerian women that ever wanted to contest for presidency.
That's a good one.
Yeah, on the show. But that's another side. That's another part. But I think we are seeing more women now in position of powers and authority. And like you people say, what a man can do,
a woman can do better.
Did he really have to put the better?
Yes, I needed
let us keep it at what a man can do, a woman can do. Let's see.
A woman can do it better.
In what way?
Every aspect.
Yes. All right, so that's how I'm going to have it today on the show, and lots of things to talk about. But let's go for a short break, and when we're back, we'll get through the newspapers. What are the papers saying on a Saturday morning? All right, so now is to go check the papers. Like they say, information is power. It's very important that you get up to date and up to speed. I know somebody likes saying that up to date and up to speed. You get up to date and you also get up to speed with the current information and the papers offers that window to actually know what's happening in the country. Sadiya, which paper are we starting with?
Yes, we are starting with Saturday Telegraph.
Okay, so the Saturday Telegraph, our lead story says, why North feels marginalized under Tinubu AGF. On the rider, we have insist no automatic ticket for president and all of that. Okay, Sadiya, go ahead.
Then we have banks borrow 360.19 billion naira from CBN in 1 week. Banks borrow 360.19 billion naira from CBN in 1 week, and that's on page 2 of Saturday Telegraph.
Okay, still on Saturday Telegraph, this Saturday morning, it says we'll hunt down killers of worshippers in Katsina. Our federal government describes attacks as callous and barbaric. That's on the page 5 of the Saturday Telegraph this morning.
And then we have PDP crisis.
Yeah.
Stakeholders push for Wike, Fayose, others exclusion ahead NEC meeting.
Okay, big story there. PDP crisis, Sadiya gave us that. Stakeholders push for Wike, Fayose and others expulsion ahead of the NEC meeting. On the right, it says governors move to Zamfara to firm up decision. We don't want those who terminate our progress, says Chief Bode George. That story is on the page 2 of the Telegraph, the Saturday edition of that newspaper.
Then we have an insecurity. Tinubu insists on local manufacture of military hardware.
Yeah.
Insecurity. Tinubu insists on local manufacture of military hardware.
Okay, so other stories that we have, it says FAC shares 2.1 trillion as revenue as federal government, states, local governments for July. FAC means Federal Allocation Committee shared 2.1 trillion naira as revenue to the federal government, to states and local governments for the month of July.
Then we have our next story. We have we will hunt down killers of worshippers in Katsina, federal government.
All right, so other stories that we have on that particular newspaper, the paper says weird cleaning practices, prophecies destroying families. Okay, that's on the page 28 and 29 of that particular newspaper. And I'm going to take the last story on the newspaper. It says Japan designates Kisarusa hometown for Nigerians to create special visas for skilled and innovative Nigerians. But just before we take the conversation away from this newspaper, I'd like that we talk about Japan now, who is designating a community for Nigerians and is planning to create special visas for skilled Nigerians. And it just talks about how important it is for how other countries are trying to prep Nigerians out of the country, and we have a lot of skilled workers leaving Nigeria, and as a result of so many factors. And it speaks to our country, how we may want to look back and improve the economy, improve a lot of factors, even education, because health, a lot of people continue to leave the country on a daily basis for.
And that's where we say Japa syndrome.
Absolutely, absolutely. People just want to keep traveling.
Yeah.
But why are they traveling? You look at economic realities, and these are things we can get in Nigeria. So why don't we put those things
together here
at home?
If it will work out. Anyways, that's a discussion for another day.
No, it will work. There was a time we had in a country where it was working, right? We had the jobs, we had people from other African countries. Indians, people were in Nigeria, Ghanaians, Cameroonians, Nigerians, a lot of people were in Nigeria to make a living. So where did we get it wrong? These are some of the conversations we need to have, because if we have the healthcare system, I don't think anybody would want to travel
outside the country
for healthcare if you could get the same quality of service here at home.
when I told you that this is a discussion for another day, it seems you don't understand. The topic is very broad. It's a wide topic. So talking about it now, let's move to the next newspaper.
Okay, Sadi, I said we should move to the next paper, and the next paper, shall we? All right, go ahead.
The next newspaper is Tribune.
Okay, the Tribune newspaper.
Tribune newspaper. The lead story says, workers, pensioners will demand living wages. Southwest pensioners.
Okay, that's a lead story. It says if politicians jack up their pay, workers and pensioners will demand living wages. That's coming from Southwest pensioners. Says union would take 250,000 as minimum wage. Right. We'll come back to this. Let's take other stories now. APC dismisses ADC as mere distraction. APC dismisses ADC as mere distraction. Yeah, go ahead, Asadiat.
All right, we have our next story. Say Kano sets up committee to record 10 million voters for 2027.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Please, I'd like that you take the story again.
Kano sets up committee to record 10 million voters for 2027.
Okay, that's
on page 4 of the newspaper.
Okay, it's page 4 on of the Saturday Tribune. Other stories we have, school feeding. We target 20 million pupils. Federal government, page 4, says school feeding. We target 20 million pupils. Federal government.
And another one says, I didn't ask Nigerians to carry arms in self-defense. CDS.
Okay, that's coming from the Chief of Defense Staff. Okay, other stories we have says, I'm ready to take her back, although she's pregnant for another man, husband. Yeah, the husband say, the story says, I'm ready to take her back, although she is pregnant for another man, husband. What a good man.
When I was on my way coming this morning, the taxi, certain radio station, we were talking about this same issue.
And what's your take on the issue?
What's my take on it is, like, I don't understand. She, like, come, repeat that, take that story again.
The story says, I am ready to take her back, although she is pregnant for another man. Husband is on page 12 and page 21 of the Saturday Tribune.
My first question is, were they divorced before she went to meet another man?
I don't have the answers to those questions. Let's take other stories on this newspaper.
My wife got our first child to beat me up. Whoa, man.
A lot of so you want to get all of this human angle stories, get to the Tribune newspaper and get the stories. Okay, let's move over to the Punch newspaper. Lead story on the Punch: UTME, how we breach CBN centers, savers for candidates. Hackers, how we breach CBN centers, savers for candidates. Hackers, compromised operators behind exam fraud, says mercenaries. Proprietors Association rejects generalization. That's the lead story on the Saturday Punch newspaper, Saturday edition. Today, Saturday, the 23rd of August, 2025.
And the next story says, concerns mount over 25% paternity fraud reports.
Okay.
Concerns mount over 25% paternity fraud reports.
Presidency backs EFCC on articles son-in-law horns. Presidency backs EFCC on articles son-in-law horns. That's another story that we have on the Punch newspaper.
I am scared to return to my duty post. Anambra corps member. There's a lady that is stripped naked. Yeah, she's scared of returning back to her duty post now because of what she went through. So what do you have to say about that? What do you have to say about that?
For me, I think I saw the video and it was dehumanizing. It was sad and it could be traumatizing in a way. So I think I should go through some form of mental evaluation. She should go through some form of physiotherapy, to get her in the right mental state before we can even start talking about going back to work, because that's not an experience that anybody will wish for anybody.
All right, our next paper.
Okay, another story on that newspaper says concerns mount over 25% paternity. Okay, you already took that story. Monarch under spells, says traditionalists. Alafin and Oni of Ife, we saw Alafin of Oyo and the Oni of Ife. We saw the back and forth between Alafin giving the Oni 48 hours to revoke a chieftaincy title that was given to somebody and all of that. And the story says monarchs under spells, says traditionalists. If you want to get the full gist of what is happening between the Alafin and the Oni of Ife, get the Punch newspaper Saturday edition.
All right, our next paper is the Weekend Trust.
Okay, so the Daily Trust Weekend edition of the paper. What's the lead story, Sadiat?
By-elections heightens fear for 2027.
All right, that's a lead story, and there's a picture story on the front page of the newspaper, a picture story, and that goes ahead to talk about Nigeria's economy. In 2018, we had a 1.1 trillion naira economy. As of 2016, our economy was worth, our rice economy, just rice alone, was worth 2.5 trillion. Okay, so there's a lot of explanation done about the current output and the current consumption and all of that. So you may want to get that and understand what is going on as regards rice meal production and how it is collapsing. I think this is a very detailed report by the Daily Trust newspaper. On the front page, a picture story, an infographic story. So get the Daily Trust newspaper and get to understand all of the stories.
And the next story says 4 Benue lawmakers suspended over plot to impeach Speaker. That's on page 34 of Weekend Trust.
Another story says from Arewa to Lagos, a journey of Northern Enterprise.
Then the last story says why we declared Atiku's son-in-law wanted. EFCC.
I have no comments for that. Let's take the last story, the last newspaper for this morning before we get to the next segment of the show. Okay, the last newspaper, let's take the Nation newspaper as the last newspaper. Lead story, AGF, I'm not under pressure to drop charges against friends of government. AGF, I'm not under pressure to drop charges against friends of government. Lead story. On the radar, it says all cases treated on merit. That's the lead story on the Nation newspaper this morning.
All right, we have by-election results. PDP, others in panic return to drawing board ahead of 2027.
Other stories, we have EFCC declares Atiku's son-in-law wanted for money laundering. EFCC declares Atiku's son-in-law wanted for money laundering. Okay, big story there developing.
Foreign reserves sufficient for 10 months import, CBN.
Big story also. Another story says how I won Fulbright scholarship to teach Yoruba in America. How I won a Fulbright scholarship to teach Yoruba in America is on page 24. You could get all of these stories on the Nation newspaper. And that takes... Okay, let's take the last story from...
The last story on the Nation's and Saturday edition newspaper says FAC distributes record 2 trillion naira revenue to federal, state, local governments.
Okay, and those are the stories we have for you this morning on our newspaper segment. Do get across to your local vendor, get a copy of your newspaper, get the information, and get informed. Like they say, information is power.
Yeah, information is power. When you're informed, you will never be deformed.
That's some lines there. When you are informed, you'll never be
deformed. Yeah.
Would you mind considering a career in maybe in rap music? When you are informed, you'll never be deformed.
Then you give me a beat that will get like this. You make the
Okay, let's go for a short break, and when we're back, we'll be introducing our guest in the studio, somebody that will be helping us talk about girl child education and how important it is in growing our country.
Is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
A new Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has left the pages of manifestos to become real actions and achievements. Transformations that piece by piece feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive. And in Imo, we are not leaving it to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are always watching, protecting dreams and opportunities. If you go to the quiet shore of Orashi Power, you will see the awakening of a hydropower roaring to electrify and energize a blossoming economy. The change is visible. The heartland of the East is under construction as new roads are threading together once forgotten places. Industry is humming again and communities are alive. At the center of it all, a digital revolution is rising. A new ministry with a new mission. Not just cables and codes, but capacity. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build a digital future. And as Orashi Power goes up, so does Imo, lifting with it the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Good morning, welcome. This is still Global Morning program that enlightens you and bring focus to issues. This is the weekend edition, so we keep it cool, calm and collected. Help joining us in the studio to help make sense of the topic, education, and while girl-child education matters, is a professional who's been in this field for more than 15 years, Mr. Gelep Danladi. He also runs the Gelep Danladi Foundation. A very good morning to you and happy weekends.
Good morning and good morning viewers. Thank you for having me this morning.
All right, so let's look at the topic, girl-child education. Why does it matter?
This is a very, very important topic. Girl-child education matters a lot. Girl-child education is crucial, especially in this day and age. When you empower a girl or when you educate a girl, you are not just educating one girl, but you are educating the entire community. So it's very, very important. If we look at the economic contribution of women in the society, it's timely for us to invest in girls' education. If you look at the maternal mortality rate, if you invest in girls' education, we are going to have a drop in maternal mortality rate. Why do I say so? Because they are going to be aware of the vaccine they are going to take. They are going to be aware of all the necessary care of pregnancy they are going to take, compared with a woman that did not go to school. And according to UNESCO, girls that have participated in secondary school have 50% chances of getting married before the age of 18. So that's to show you that girls' education is very, very crucial. And they contribute to the economic growth of the entire country. They contribute to innovation and entrepreneurship. If you go to the market today to buy things, it's mostly women that are the engine of economic trading in the entire community. So it's very, very crucial, and I believe it's timely for us to invest in girls' education, because if we invest, even the insecurity today we are facing is going to go down because they have become more aware and aware. The trafficking, the sexual violence, we are going to become more aware. So education gives you that sense of awareness, that sense of belonging. And also the mental issues they are having, the mental well-being, their health care is going to improve. So it's very, very important.
Right, so there are questions about if you train a woman, she will get married and eventually leave the house. Are those concerns germane? Are those concerns that are keeping people from training? Because I looked at the data, so because you mentioned data, with our work, data is very important. I saw that, yes, we have over 13 million out-of-school children. And looking at that number, over 70% of those girls are out of school. Those children are out of school, actually girls. And you just keep to wonder, why do we have so many children out of school? Yes, and we have more ladies, more girls out of school. Is it a disparity that has to do with culture? What are some of the reasons why we have so many girls that are out of school?
Okay, that's a very, very important question. For us to be able to address a girl child education, we have to go back to basics. We have to find out the root cause. Why do we have a high number of girls as out-of-school children? According to UNESCO, we have about 18.3 million out-of-school children, and about more than 60% of that 18.3 million are girls. So we look at the child. What are the root causes? One of the root causes we have to talk about awareness. We have to move away from the stereotype that education is for boys and not for girls. It's common. People tend to educate more boys than girls in societies. So that awareness must be raised. The second thing we have to look at is the cultural norms. In some societies, they look at girls, they are meant to marry at an early age. Girls are not supposed to be educated as boys. They put boys on top and girls. No, it's not supposed to be so. There's gender equality. Now, you look at the issue of poverty. Poverty because they don't have funds to send their children to school. So the only thing they can do for them to survive is to send these girls for selling of goods and services to be able to raise money for the family. So it's very, very important for us to address the issue of poverty. Then the other issue that we have, low participation of girls, we look at insecurity as well. If you go to certain parts of the country, there are insecurities where people don't go to schools because those schools have been destroyed. But thank God today we have political will from the government that have addressed the issue of insecurity, so we believe this number is going to drop. The other issue that have to do with low participation of girls is about the gender inequality we talk about. So people tend to send more boys to school than girls. And one of the reasons is because they are not aware. They are not awareness. They want to send girls to marry at an early age, which we believe that is not supposed to be so. A girl must be fully matured, both in sound and mind, to be able to marry so that she can take certain decisions. She's not just going there to be a slave. So we also have to look at issues that have to do with infrastructure. If you don't have a school close to you, there's no way they can be able to go to those schools. If the school is very far from them, they have to travel for 10, 15 kilometers. So it's difficult. So it's a serious also challenge in the community. The cultural norm is there, the infrastructural issue is there, the poverty is there, the lack of awareness is also there, and the stereotype that education is meant for boys and not for girls is also there. And another crucial issue is about child labor. Child labor has deprived a lot of children from going to school, especially the girl child. Somebody will come and pick this girl child and send them to go and work for them as housemaid instead of them to be in school. A girl is supposed to be in school and not to serve at that early age. When you send a young girl below the age of 16 to go and work as a housemaid, one thing is going to deprive her from education. It's going to affect her mental health and her well-being, because by the time she realizes, already too late. So child labor is a serious issue that affects a girl child education.
All right, so because the issues you actually pointed out are multi-dimensional issues, and I think they're complementary to each other, because if you solve poverty, you have to think about solving one other issue and all of that. But let's talk about the role of the government and the role of civil society organizations and NGOs, like the one you run, in helping the talk about these issues. What are some of the roles that government can play, and even individuals and civil societies, to help address these issues?
Okay, let's first look at the government part. So I believe the government has shown political will when it comes to girl child education. The Nigerian government, I must give them...
Because we have the 35% affirmative?
Not about the 35% affirmative alone. If you look at the policies that have been implemented, there are a lot of policies that have been implemented. For instance, the universal basic education, which gives access to free education at primary school level. So it's the right step in the right direction. Education is crucial, is key, meaning they don't have to pay for anything. So they have done a lot in terms of that. There are a lot of policies like the Child Rights Act of 2003. You know, so if you look at the Child Rights Act of 2003, it's going to address the issue of child labor we are having today, and which also deprives children from going to school. It's very important. And the Federal Ministry of Health has implemented a lot of policies, like all the nutrition policies, they are all there. If you look at the national investment programs in Nigeria, where the free school feeding program is also a good policy that the government has done. So that's very good from the government part, and I believe the government also need to do more also for girl child. We also need to put the right policies in the right place. We have done a lot, and we also need to do more. It's not always enough. We always, even as human, you always need to ask more. The issue of child labor today have to be addressed, which is very, very important. You don't employ a child to come and work for you.
So we still have child labor going on.
You see people employing young people as maids, you know, which is not right. Even though the Child Rights Act is there, you know,
but just not to help you buttress the point clearer for those who are watching. Well, there's this, I think, some form of wealth transfer that is done using that process. Some people will argue because I know in rural communities you have uncles who are maybe abroad, who are in cities, who will come and look at some families that can't afford basic needs. I'll be like, okay, let me take this girl, she'll live with me, and because she's looking after my children, and I'll maybe send her to learn a trade, which maybe the family can afford to send her, and maybe also send her to school. Is that not some way of tackling poverty and wealth transfer?
Exactly, that's the way. It's different from child labor. This is different from child labor. Okay, it's very important.
Go ahead.
I traveled to my community today. I found out that some people are poor, and you are able to bring out a child from there and put him in school, or put him to learn trade, which is very, very good. But you don't subject that child to labor, anything that dignifies his well-being and mental health. That is where we come about child labor. You force somebody to do what he's not supposed to do to earn at a very tender age. So we have to
like hawking on the street.
Hawking on the street is, for me, is child labor. You know, you bring somebody to go and work in construction site that is not matured. It's child labor. You're employing children below certain age to go and work in your farm for you. Is child labor. But when you bring out a child from the village, bring him to the city, and that particular education is crucial. You must teach him how to learn, you must teach him education, you must send him to school. It's not child labor. You are trying to bring up this child, you are empowering him. You treat him the way you treat your children. You don't bring him and then while your children are studying, he's there washing plates or he's there ironing. No. That is not about wealth transfer or empowerment. You try to bring him as your own. You train him as your own child.
Right. So let's stay on the girls' education now. For those mothers who are into business and they have to go around to sell their wares, and growing up as maybe they now have a girl who is 13, who is 14, and they're like, you need to assist maybe on weekends, since you are in school Monday to Friday. On weekends you go with this akara and whatever, and just go around to sell. That's beans cake. That's what we call akara for those who are watching. And you just go around to sell. How does it speak to, like you've mentioned, child labor to the girls, which it is their mom, it's not somebody outside? How do you address that?
Is there anybody supervising them there, or they are going on their own?
They are going on their own.
On their own. There's high risks. They can be raped by anybody. They can be knocked down by a car. They can be kidnapped. So that is not right. When the mom is there and then she's being supervised, it's different thing than you sending a child to hawk on his own. It's unacceptable.
But we see that a lot. We see that all over our streets.
A lot of efforts have been made to address those issues. If you look at it now.
What are the efforts?
Well, the non-governmental organization, the government policies are there. That's why I mentioned about the policies, the political will. If it is time for school and your child is not in school and the school is free, who should be blamed? It's the parents, not the government. So you don't have to blame the government, because we have raised, their awareness has been raised. The platform has been provided for children to go to school. Right? The school is free for them to go. And they decide that they don't want to go to school, they want to hawk and get some source of money to address the issue of poverty. No, that is not allowed. And the Child Rights Act of 2003 is trying to address those issues. If you look at the non-governmental organization, which I have not mentioned earlier, you asked me what solutions. for us as NGO, the key role we have to play is to go back to the communities to raise awareness about the importance of girl education, about the importance of addressing this issue of girl-child education, about the importance of not engaging young children in child labor. So once we raise this awareness, it's not only the NGOs, the community leaders have a key role to play. The religious leaders have a key role to play. The parents themselves have a key role to play. It's very, very crucial at that point. Awareness is crucial. Let me give you an example. If you have a girl that's educated, and a girl that is not educated, you have two set of people. The girl that is educated, she has a very good awareness of well-being. She knows when to take her children for immunization. She knows the kind of immunization she needs to give her children. While a girl that is not educated, she's totally illiterate. She doesn't know how to read or write. It's a different ball game. She will rely on somebody to tell her that, oh, take your child to school, to hospital today or tomorrow, and she might miss out certain vaccine. That's why you see some of this sickness, polio, she might miss out on a lot of things. So if you educate a girl, you are not only educating her, but you are educating the entire community. Let's take, for instance, I've talked about the health issue now. If she's able to give her children vaccine and they grow up to be healthy children, is it not a big plus to the community? But if they grow up with one form of disability or the other, it's going to be a huge burden to the community. Let's take, for instance, awareness. If you look at the Nigerian sector today, women are excelling. So if you train these girls, they are going to excel the way these women are excelling. But if you don't train these women, today they will be in their husband's house, they are not earning, because a girl that is educated, according to UNESCO, she will earn to take care of her family and also contribute to the economic development of the country. But a woman that is not employed, that is not educated, she's not literate. She cannot read and write. And what happens is, she will rely on the husband, whatever the husband gives her. Oh, if she's lucky and she learns trade, that is very important. But education is key. What we are trying to say today, education is key. Girls' child education can unlock a lot of potentials in girls. Let's take, for instance, digital literacy today. If you look at the way Nigerian system is, JAMB is now digital as against the paper-based. So if you have a girl that is not educated, how will she be able to attempt JAMB today? That means her future is gone. So that's why we are trying to raise this awareness. And I'm so happy that our dear country has shown a lot of political will.
We'll see. I like that. We talk about the political will because there are issues around women asking for opportunities, girls asking for opportunities and not taking opportunities. People raise those issues that because they have the numbers, people say, for instance, we are practicing democracy in Nigeria and we have about 60 or let's say 56% of Nigerians at the last census we did, it's really been a long time, being women, meaning they can win an election if we have all of the women go out to vote. They have the masses, but sometimes we don't see this cooperation even from the women's side. We see Sarah Jibril at one time wanted to be president under the platform of the PDP, but she had just one vote. She was the only person that voted herself. But there were many women who were parts of that delegate list, but they didn't vote her. So let's talk about the issue of women themselves depriving other children that are girls of this opportunity. What happens? Why is it that we have some women who are also, although to balance it, we also have women who are championing the cause of girl child education? As somebody who's practicing in that sector, you just like to give us your experience about women supporting the girls.
Okay, the first question you raised about the politics, that's politics is different from the non-governmental organization, so I don't have an answer for you when it comes to that political landscape because you don't
operate in that space.
I don't operate in that aspect. I operate in a different aspect. Okay, so when it comes to women, mentoring women, I have to be honest that we have a lot of Nigerian women that are mentoring the young ones. If you look at the Youth Day, the International Day of Child, the International Day of Girl Child, you will see a lot of women coming up to champion the cause of these young ones to come up to champion the cause of the child, the girl child. Now we also have women that are championing the cause of boys child. So it's very, very important for us to address this issue. A lot of women have done it. Not to say that in every society you have few pockets of issues that you can't
like
generalize.
you see pictures of women using pressing
exactly
on
those people need to be punished for those offenses. Is you can't use the few people that have been punishing children to generalize. Today, if I see a woman maltreating a child, I will go to the highest extent to ensure that justice is done. She's been punished for that. You understand? So there are a lot of women that have mentored these children. If you look at most of the orphanage homes today, they are being run by women. If you look at most of the charity organizations today we have in Nigeria that deal with children, they are being run by women. If you look at, women have always come to champion the cause of women. Even when these few women that use pressing iron and use cane on these children, who champion the cause is women that always raise the awareness. So you don't generalize it. I can categorically say that we have a majority of our men have empathy. It's just a few, like I say, if you talk about youth today, Nigerian youth are hardworking. But now you have some few ones that are into Yahoo and this thing. So will you generalize it? No. It's just a small number. But I believe a lot has been done. If you look at a lot of prosecution has been done to those women to serve as less detriment for women who intend to do that.
Right. So I'd like to follow up that question now by asking, what has the process been, the progress and the process for you who works in that sector? Looking at your work, 13 years down the line, can you really say that you've made progress? That's one. And how are you looking into the future with the work you do as we try to wind down the conversation now? What are the prospects you are seeing looking into the future?
Okay, at Caleb Danladi Foundation, I believe we have done a lot when it comes to child education, youth empowerment, and also women empowerment, because that's our focus area. And our aim, my short, and we have what we call short-term, long-term, and medium-term plan. But in the long time, I want to see every girl child in the country being educated. That is my aim. That will make me happy. I want to see girls leading the tech industry, leading different industries today. So in our organization, we have a lot of programs that we tailor to support child education. First of all, when we started by encouraging them to go to school, by supporting them with writing materials, uniforms, reading materials, which is very crucial. And from that, we have seen a large number of students that go to school compared to when we are not giving those materials. So there's a huge impact. We have made a huge impact. The other aspect we are trying to address is to address the issue of digital literacy in girl-child education. We have a program called STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. So when you look at the statistics in Nigeria, we only have 22% of women that are in STEM roles. So as a charity organization, we want this 22% to increase to about 80 to 90%, not even 100%. So we have engaged.
Is that fair to them? But finish the conversation.
It's not fair. It's a dream. Everybody has a dream. You have a dream to be a president. Does it mean you will achieve that dream? It doesn't. You have to work hard towards it, and you will get it. We'll get there. Digital literacy, we have focused on different communities today. And the idea is to train these young ones in basic computer knowledge,
digital skills,
so that we can be able to bridge the skill gap.
All right, so somebody would like to ask for the work that is being done about girl-child education and other NGO does, and a lot of people are doing. How do you get the support and funding to actually access this gap? Because for all of these issues, you need some sort of funding. Like you're going to need budgetary allocation, maybe for prosecution, you need the money for empowerment, for education. So all of these things still ties down to one way or the other to funding. How is that accessible?
Okay, funding has always been a challenge in the non-profit sector. There are donors, there are private individuals that support, there are also partnership with government. You also need to partner with government. You need to partner with private enterprise. And then you as an individual that have that vision and mission to support girl child education, you should be able to invest your resources, time and money. And it's not only about money or resources. You also need people that will go to the field to work. Today we have a lot of volunteers that are working for us. And these volunteers have invested their time, they have invested their money, they have invested their resources. So these are the places that, you know, we come together, we collaborate. We have a lot of volunteers that are in the field today getting information for us about how many girls have not been to school. Because before we carry out any project, what we do, we carry out what we call need assessment and stakeholders mapping. So these volunteers are in the field. We distribute questionnaires. They conduct the need assessment for us. When we mention volunteer, they are not being paid for it. So that means they are contributing to the organization. Even though if you don't have funding from international partners, that you fund the project yourself, the volunteers also contribute to you. Also, let's look at the media today. The media are here also to promote the organization. So it's a collaboration between all stakeholders. By collaborating, a lot of people now know, oh, Caleb Danladi Foundation focus on youths, focus on children, and focus on women. So there's awareness that has been raised. We are talking about the importance of girl child education. The media now we are using the platform of the media to raise awareness about the importance of educating the child. Yeah, so I don't need to go and spend money over there. I'm using the media and it's going to go to wide coverage. So also you look at the government. For instance, today, I have partnership with Kaduna State government under the Kaduna State Contributory Health Insurance Scheme to enroll about 500 women for free medical care. And we had a discussion, and thanks to Kaduna State government, they say, okay, Caleb, you have enrolled these people. You have invested your resources in these people. Okay, come up with a statistic, come up with the data. We need to know every woman that is pregnant in those areas, she will go through the antenatal care free of charge. So you can see how you can partnership with government.
So when you say the media, I just want to put it clear that for promotions, that you will pay for promotion.
Definitely.
So when you come for adverts, you have to pay us for that. We don't, because we are running a business, we have to make
profits. Of course. Well, it's not advert I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the awareness we are raising about girl child today.
Because generally, we're talking about girl child education. Thank you so much, Caleb Danladi, who is a founder for Danladi Foundation, for coming to talk to us about girl child education and the importance it has in Nigeria. Thank you so much. We hope that we have more women. You said 90%.
That's my prayer. I think 90%.
50 will be fair. So let's also be fair to the boys.
What I mean is not about 90% the global, but the participation should be 90%.
90% of women participating in...
Yes, to have digital literacy skill. Because for
you
to
I understand.
You must be literate,
I understand.
So that's what I mean.
It makes no sense. I thought you were talking about
it's not consensus. It's the number of women that we expect to see in the future that can be able to use computers, that can be able to participate in computer-based training. Let the number increase to about 90%. We also know that we have pockets, few people in rural areas we can't reach out to because of there's a bit of discrepancy between urban, and so we give it a buffer of 10%.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. And that's what we have on that particular segment. And when we're back, we'll get straight to the next segment of the show. This is Global Morning on Global Television, and the show continues.
Of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
Is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.